Now let us continue the story, kids. During the annual Sri Sita Rama Kalyanam ceremony, our family used to arrange boats with a special platform for carrying idols of Lord from the temple to the marriage site, situated in the middle of the pond called Ramatirtha, which was near our house. Events from the Ramayana and from the life of Prophet were the bedtime stories my mother and grandmother would tell the children in our family. Now here, every year there used to be a Rama Kalyanam ceremony for which our Kalam's family used to arrange boats to carry the idol of Lord Rama from the temple to the place where this marriage was held. And night time they used to listen to beautiful stories from his mother and grandmother from Ramayana and Prophet. One day when I was in 5th standard at the Rameshwaram Elementary School, a new teacher came to our class. I used to wear a cap which marked me as a Muslim, and I always sat in the front row next to Ramanatha Shastri, who wore the sacred thread. The teacher could not stomach a Hindu priest's son sitting with a Muslim boy. In accordance with our social ranking, as the new teacher saw it, I was asked to go and sit on the back bench. I felt very sad, and so did Ramanatha Shastri. He looked utterly downcast as I shifted to my seat in the last row. The image of him weeping when I shifted to the last row left a lasting impression on me. So one day what happens, they were studying in Rameshwaram Elementary School. A new teacher comes there and they see a priest, a boy of a Hindu priest sitting near a Muslim boy. Those days people had a sort of thing in their mind related to this Brahmins especially. Brahmins were considered one of the highest caste at that time. So this new teacher was not happy with a Hindu priest's son sitting near a Muslim boy. So now what did the teacher do? This stupid teacher sent APJ Kalam to the last bench. This made Ramanatha Shastri very sad. Ramanatha Shastri didn't like it, nor did Kalam like it. Both the Ramanatha Shastri started crying when Kalam was shifted to the last row. After school we went home and told our respective parents about the incident. Now after going home, both of them tell this to their parents. Lakshmana Shastri summoned the teacher. Now Lakshmana Shastri was the high priest in Rameshwaram temple. Now Lakshmana Shastri called for the teacher and in our presence told the teacher that he should not spread the poison of social inequality and communal intolerance in the minds of innocent children. He bluntly asked the teacher to either apologize or quit the school and the island. Not only did the teacher regret his behavior, but the strong sense of conviction Lakshmana Shastri conveyed ultimately reformed this young teacher. Now Lakshmana Shastri was very upset with this incident. He calls the teacher and tells him, you should not spread the poison of social inequality and communal intolerance among children. You should not teach the children that religions are different. Some religion is high and some religion is low. That is really wrong. And he asked the teacher to either apologize or leave the school and leave the island, that is Rameshwaram island. This brought in a change in the teacher, and ultimately the teacher accepted his mistake, and that became a change in that teacher's life. On the whole, the small society of Rameshwaram was very rigid in terms of segregation of different social groups. However, my science teacher Siva Subramanya Iyer, though an orthodox Brahmin with a very conservative wife, was something of a rebel. He did his best to break social barriers so that people from varying backgrounds could mingle easily. He used to spend hours with me and would say, Kalam, I want you to develop so that you are on par with the highly educated people of the big cities. Now, Rameshwaram was a small society, a small place wherein there were different social groups. But in Rameshwaram, Kalam had a science teacher by name Shiva Subramanya Iyer, who was a very orthodox Brahmin, and his wife was too orthodox than him. But he always advised Kalam to break all the social barriers. He wanted people to mingle with each other. He always believed that there is no difference in caste, or there is no difference in high caste or low caste. And he used to always tell Kalam to become highly educated. And he used to tell Kalam that you should learn so well that you can be in par with the highly educated people of big cities. One day, he invited me to his home for a meal. His wife was horrified at the idea of a Muslim boy being invited to dine in a ritually pure kitchen. She refused to serve me in her kitchen. Shivasubramanya Iyer was not perturbed, nor did he get angry with his wife, but instead served me with his own hands and sat down beside me to eat his meal. His wife watched us from behind the kitchen door. I wondered whether she had observed any difference in the way I ate rice, drank water, or cleaned the floor after the meal. When I was leaving his house, Shivasubramanya Iyer invited me to join him for dinner again the next weekend. Observing my hesitation, he told me not to get upset, saying, "Once you decide to change the system, such problems have to be confronted." When I visited his house the next week, Shivasubramanya Iyer's wife took me inside her kitchen and served me food with her own hands. Now one day, Shivasubramanya Iyer invites Kalam to his home. And here his wife, Shivasubramanya Iyer's wife, was very orthodox, and she refused to give food for Kalam in her kitchen because they were purely vegetarian, and she was not ready to accept Kalam in her kitchen. Shivasubramanya Iyer didn't tell anything, but what he did, he takes Kalam and sits with Kalam and eats the food. And his wife was watching all this from behind. And later on, when Kalam was leaving, what Shivasubramanya Iyer says, Kalam, he says, "You come to my house the next weekend for the dinner." But Kalam was a bit upset. He was hesitating to come because his wife will not like it. But he says, no, you should not worry about all these things. We can change the system. But next week when Kalam visited Shivasubramanya Iyer's house, Iyer's wife took him to the kitchen and served food with her own hands. Then the Second World War was over and India's freedom was imminent. Indians will build their own India, declared Gandhiji. The whole country was filled with an unprecedented optimism. I asked my father for permission to leave Rameshwaram and study at the district headquarters in Ramanathapuram. By then, the Second World War was over and Gandhiji declared that Indians will build their own India. And India was about to get its freedom. By then, Kalam requests his father to give him permission to go to Ramanathapuram to study further. He told me as if thinking aloud, Abul, I know you have to go away to grow. Does the seagull not fly across the sun alone and without a nest? He quoted Khalil Gibran to my hesitant mother. Your children are not your children. They are the sons and daughters of life's longing for itself. They come through you but not for you. You may give them your love but not your thoughts, for they have their own thoughts. Then at that time when Kalam is willing to go to Ramanathapuram to study, he says, Abul, yes, you have to go from here because you have to grow. And he quotes about seagull, a bird which flies across the sun alone and without any nest. And he says to his mother, quotes from Khalil Gibran, telling that your children are not your children, but they are the sons and daughters of life. And they come through you, but they are not for you. You have to give them love, but not your thoughts, because they have their own thoughts and they know what to do. This is from APJ Abdul Kalam, an extract from the Wings of Fire. So this is about a lesson on my childhood. I hope you have understood this lesson, children. We'll discuss more in our live class. I am sending the PDF file of this chapter. Please go through that. Not only that, I am also sending the complete notes of this chapter. Please write down the notes in your books. Thank you, kids.